All right, Miss Bella, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I am blessed and highly favored. How are
Okay,
you?
I'm the same. I'm the same. Thank you very much. So, our podcast is called Born to Create, and we interview creators, people who are out there making things happen. And so, you are a creator, so that's why you're here on the podcast to bless us with your creativity. So, you are a health coach. All right, you're a health coach, and you help people get in shape and really make changes through their health. So, I think that's very very important because I think health and business are go hand in hand. You have to be healthy to have a productive and fruitful business, right? So,
Correct.
tell me a little bit about how you got into being a health coach and where did you get your start?
Whew, okay. So I used to be 300 pounds. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me here
It's
today.
my pleasure.
I feel blessed.
My pleasure. Thank you.
But I used to be over 300 pounds. Um, I was.
I can't picture that, by the way. Just so you know. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. But yeah, I used to be over 300 pounds. Just very depressed, suicidal.
Wow.
I had like lots of health issues, including like migraine, sinus. I had really bad gastritis, constipation, moodiness. I mean, you name it.
Wow.
I was like a walking pharmacy. I am a mom of four, and so having to be over 300 pounds with all of the above
Yeah.
was not the business for
Right.
me. So um, that's why I had to do something to change that because I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I
Right.
was a walking pharmacy. I did not want to do that anymore. And all the issues that I had just mentioned. So I needed to do something to change.
Yeah. So that probably took a toll on like everything, right? So you said you're a mom of four or 300 pounds, right? So
Hmm.
were you like that all your life, or when did you actually gain the weight, or were you like kind of like that size like all your life? Not that size, but were you kind of big all your life?
No, actually, I was very little. I was like 100 pounds in high school.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Okay.
you can't picture that
Right. Yeah. I
either,
can.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I was 100 pounds in high school. I actually got married in high school, my last year of high school,
Yeah. Okay.
and then started having
Yeah.
kids. After my last kid, I just started. I was in a very dark place, and I just started like food was my comfort. So I just started eating, and it wasn't like that. I ate so much,
Yeah.
like all day, but it was like I would go like long hours without eating, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the night, I'm eating the whole
Gotcha.
world in one
Gotcha.
sitting.
Gotcha.
So I started gaining the weight like that, and then from 100 pounds to like over 300, I, you really like I don't even know when I noticed that
Mm.
I was,
That's wow.
it's just crazy
Yeah.
because it just becomes the norm. I I was used to like having a headache. I just kind
You
of
were used to
was
it.
I was kind of like I think because I was always in so much pain, I just became like functional,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the pain, and it came to a point where I was like, okay, this is not right. Like
Right.
I can't just okay, it doesn't exist, just
Yeah.
put it under the rug, and
Yeah.
it did exist, but until I became aware of it, it's when I
Right.
started changing. Yes.
So it's kind of true that food can be your comfort, right?
Hmm.
So you mentioned you're in a dark place and that caused you to start eating. If you're okay with talking about that place, I mean, I would like to hear like what got you there because people seem to think that they're the only person that's going through a dark place that have this challenge in their life, but you're never alone in your challenges. You're never alone in your struggles. There's always someone that's going through the same thing you are. So if you're okay with sharing, like some of that dark place to give people light and courage, I mean that would be amazing.
Yes. So there's like
Yeah.
lots to say, but I'll try to condense
Right.
it.
Right.
But first, when I was 15, um, my dad and my brother passed away the same year.
Wow.
Um,
Sorry.
my brother passed away in December 31st that year, and my dad passed away in February. So
Wow.
just months in between. And that was really hard
Yeah.
because I was daddy's girl.
Yeah. Right.
I'm the only, the second girl. So, like, all brothers, and then only one sister, and the baby. So from the girls, so that was like that was really hard for me. And not having my dad growing up, even though I was already 15, but it seemed like
Yeah, that's still young.
yeah, like very, very young. My mom wasn't like, and she's still not kind of, but you know, there's Latinos. There's like, I'm not sure people will understand me, but a lot of times they don't know how to show their love. They don't know,
Right.
like they love you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they don't know how to say it. They don't know how to like,
Right.
hey, let me, you know.
Right.
She really hasn't been the type where like, oh, let me hug you, let me tell you I love you, let me do all
Right.
this. My dad was. So it was just really hard for me to grow up without like all that, you know.
Right.
I knew she loved me, but she, you know, she didn't
Right.
never really said it. She worked 2 3 jobs. She did everything she could like to show us, hey, this is I love you and this is I provide and I protect you this way, but I kind of just missed that, those hugs and that the morning singing that my dad would always sing to me, and just feel love. And I think I I was thinking about it like, when we had the conversation the other day, and I was like, man, I didn't feel enough. Like I didn't feel like I was loved,
Wow.
and even though I had all this love, but for
Is
some
before or
reason
after your dad?
after my
Okay.
dad
After your
after
dad.
my dad passed away, yeah. So I didn't feel like, I don't know, like I wasn't enough, and I wasn't loved. I didn't feel loved, even though there was like so much love
Yeah.
around. So I'm learning about like love languages and how you receive it, how you give it, you know. And I'm a hugger. I love
Yeah.
hugs. So my mom's not a hugger. So you know, it kind of made sense on like growing up like that. And it's really hard to say this, but a lot of Latino moms, like they favor the boys instead of like the girls.
Really?
And
Wow.
yeah, it might not be all the
Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
But
but
in your experience, yeah. Yeah.
in my well, that's how
Yeah.
I perceived it, right? And so I was like, and I don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it now, and get a little bit of more info on that. But it I guess that's just why I was feeling that way, like not enough and not
Yeah.
loved.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So it it was challenging for you,
Hmm.
right? So and you said you grew up. Was it Compton? You said you grew up in
Yeah.
Compton. Okay.
So we I'm originally from Mexico City,
Okay.
and we
Yes.
came to Watts. We stayed in Watts for a while, and then moved to Compton, and then just grew up there.
Okay.
So pretty rough
Yeah.
neighborhood. You know, Compton and Watts,
Yeah.
and yeah, I that's where I was
So
raised.
your brother and dad and I didn't ask you this on the call, but how they pass away? If you mind talking about that.
So yes, it's just very very sad. My brother was at the wrong time at the wrong place,
Yeah.
and he he got mistaken by someone else, and he got shot.
Okay.
He got shot and didn't make it. And my dad, I'm not sure. Like we just never really found out the whole truth, but he got ran over by a train.
By a train.
Yes.
That's wow. That's tough. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And got cut off his legs, and he just, by the time the ambulance came and everything, they they couldn't save him. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know that was tough. I mean, just looking at you now, it you wouldn't know that you experienced so much trauma, so much pain, and so much of not being loved, right? Because your spirit now speaks different. It shows different. How'd you get to that point where you can now be who you are now, and despite everything that happened, you are victorious, right? How did you get to that place?
Well, it it took a lot. It took a lot of courage, because, like I told you, I was like sick and tired of being sick and tired. And um, one day after work, I had a breakdown. My boss was just not the business. He was racist. He just was just like a bunch of like unnecessary stuff that he made me feel so little. And I knew that I was better than that. I knew that I deserved better. And it was something that just lit up this fire under me that was like, look, I'm not, I don't care who you are, like you don't treat people this way.
Right.
So I went home and I had a breakdown, and I want to share a little bit about that because
Please.
that's where I think everything started. And it my kids, like I told you, I'm a mom of four, so my kids, my niece stayed with me at the time, and she would always get them ready for me to go to school, to take them to school. And for whatever reason, they didn't have their uniforms on, they weren't ready, and I was kind of running late already because my boss had already, like, you know told me all kinds of nonsense. And I get home and they're not ready, so I blew up, and there was a pot near the door, and I grabbed it and I threw it against the wall.
Wow.
And it just like splattered everywhere, like all the dirt and everything. And I'm looking at my kids at the other end, and and they're looking at me, and so they're all, their little faces were like,
Yeah.
"What's going on? What's wrong, Mom?" And at that moment, I said to myself that, it's not their fault.
Enjoy. Tissue, please.
It's not their fault that they, it's not their fault that I'm over 300 pounds because of my not having discipline with my meals. It's not their fault that I'm sick. It's not their fault that I chose this crappy job. It's it's none of it was their fault. They didn't ask to
Right.
be here. And I said, I'm sorry. And I said, something needs to change. And I from that day, I think I had a breakthrough where I just said, this is not happening anymore. I'm not going to put them through
Yeah.
this. And something just changed inside of me, seeing their little faces. And every time prior to that, I had like so many suicidal thoughts, and nobody knew. They didn't know. Um, I was trying to lose my weight before that, so to backtrack a little bit, and I tried everything that you can think of to try to lose my weight, and I even became bulimic, and I almost lost my life like that.
Wow.
And so having that, eating disorder and just not wanting to live, but then I would see them and it's like they don't deserve a mom that's coward like this. And I knew I wasn't a coward. I knew I was a winner. My parents brought me in this world as a winner. So I changed and I said, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. My back was against the wall, and I always been a huge believer, and I asked God to help me. I asked God to help me, and I said, I'm here. I surrender. Whatever you want me to do. And I met my angel. I call her. She introduced me to this nutrition, Herbalife, and ever since that day, I said, you know what, I'm in. Like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I was desperate, and I took it, and I lost 6 pounds my first 3 days, and I was so
First 3 days?
stoked. I was so stoked, and
Wow.
I was like, the energy I had, I didn't have a headache for, that week, and then in a whole year, 70 total with Herbalife of my total journey, 150 pounds, 11
Wow.
sizes. and I've been able to keep it off for over
So I love it. I
over
love it.
11 years. So
It's a,
yes.
it's amazing what can happen in your life when you make a choice, right? Well, when you make a choice that benefits you or a positive choice for change, because every day we make choices to stay where we are or move to a different spot in our life. Um, and the sad part is that most people make the choices to stay where they are, right?
Hmm.
Um, when it happened with your boss, there there's some there's some times when people judge themselves based off a angry moment, right? Um, when you've been going through something for days, for weeks, for months, for years, and you take it, right? You take it because you think this is how it is. This is the only way it can be. This is my life. But you get to your breaking point, right? You get to your breaking point where you say enough is enough, right? I can't do it anymore. And I think that's where you got to, right? It's like it was just too much. Your weight, your boss, your job, it just got too much. And I think everybody gets to that point. But I think what happens is that most people don't realize where they are and realize that they need change. And for you to realize that it's time for a change, it's something that most people don't do. They just accept who they are, right? Is accept the life, accept the weight, accept the headache, accept
Right.
the anger, accept the job, accept the fact that I have this boss that doesn't respect me. But you refused. You refused to accept that. Um, so talk to me about the the journey and what this did for you mentally, of course, physically, and relationships, or being a not father, being a mother, being a daughter, being a wife, being how did it affect your relationships overall?
Yes. So now we're always encountering challenges
Right.
of all kind, and so when I first got married, my husband, I am currently divorced now, but my husband had always been like a jealous
Right.
type of man. And um, losing the weight and trying to do better and not wanting to work for an employer
Yeah.
ever again because, I come from like business minded people.
Yes.
My parents always owned a business and well, not always, but they were business owners,
Yeah.
so that's what they taught us, right? So I said I can do this as well, and trying to make that transition from being an employee to being an entrepreneur and trying to go get this, um, it it was very challenging because of um, and it's really hard to talk about this because um, my husband was like he was my first boyfriend, my
Yeah.
first love, and I feel like he would always be my my first love. You always have that
Yes.
in your heart, right? But just being so jealous and not understanding that you can do this type of any type of business and still have a family, still have a
Right.
marriage, and still
Right.
have all of this. So it was very challenging to be able to go to work every day, go to events, go to trainings, go this and that um, with with all that, with the
Yeah.
cherry on top,
Yeah.
of his jealousy. So it was very very challenging, and through the process, because of like I'm trying to stay on track. I'm trying to stay on track with my health, with my mental health, with my business, with my kids, with
Yeah.
everything. Um, I ended up losing my marriage, and it was it was extremely challenging for
Yes.
me
Of course.
because I did I was kind of embarrassed to voice it out like, hey, I've been married 30 years and
Yeah.
now everything is just like, lost, and But like I said, I'm a huge believer in God, and I feel like God put me in that spot. So I was able to withstand a lot of the storms that were coming into my life. And when I was little, I wanted to be a doctor,
Yes.
and I wanted to help people feel healthier and happier. And it didn't happen because I chose to get married. I chose to have kids. I tried to go to college, didn't finish. So I was trying to be a Wonder Woman and save the world, and couldn't even save myself. But I feel like God gave me this spot um, to be able to fulfill my dream of being
Yes.
a doctor, but in a different way, helping people be healthier and happier without medicine. And I don't understand it still, but why I had to encounter all of this, and even getting a divorce and everything. But I'm learning not to question God anymore and not be mad at him anymore, and just surrendering and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
So in this point in my life, it's been 11 years at Healthy Start. And it hasn't been easy because you have to show up every day regardless.
Yes.
But I have a lot of wonderful people. I meet a lot of wonderful people like yourself. And I am so blessed. I am so blessed that
How,
I'm able
how
to
do we meet?
meet
How do we meet? You know what? How do we meet?
your entrepreneur.
No.
The me.
We
Oh,
met.
no, 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 no,
I
no.
Googled
You did. You did.
healthy shakes in Riverside, and then I walked in, and you gave me this amazing. First time I ever had a hot shake. He was like, "Try it; it's gonna be amazing." I'm like, "Are you sure?" And it was really amazing. So yeah, I mean, I think because I never get shakes, right? I always have it with me, or I go home. But that day, I'm like, you know what? I just need to get something different. So I think it was meant to be. It was alignment. And something you said that really triggered something in me is like a surrender. You surrendered, and once you surrender to really your true being, that's when everything takes place. And people come in and out of your life for seasons, right? And those seasons can be great seasons. I mean, I'm sure your marriage, and then your dad, and then your brother. I'm sure you guys had great times together, right? And I'm sure it taught you so much, and you learned so much, and you love so much, right? Um, but it doesn't diminish who those people were to you or still are to you, right? Because even though your brother and dad are gone, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still with you, right?
Definitely.
and
Yes.
and it creates some joy, some happiness, some peace, and and even your husband. I'm sure you guys had some amazing times. But in life, things happen, right? In life, sometimes we allow our childhood trauma to come into our present, and it kind of messes around with who we want to be. But once you get a hold of God and grace and healing, you begin to recognize your patterns and who you are and who you want to be. And I think that's what happened to you when you finally had enough, right? It was like, okay, you know what? I recognize this is not what I want, but what do I want? I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to help people. And doctors help people.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you doing? You're helping people, right? So
Yes.
in a sense, you are a doctor because you're fulfilling that dream. It's a different vehicle, but you're still helping people, right? I mean, one, you helped yourself, and that's the big thing. You helped yourself get down, lose 150 pounds. So your journey has been amazing, and it's still going. So every day, how do you stay motivated and want to conquer a day, even through the challenges and adversity? How do you stay motivated?
God.
God.
He's my first. I'm learning that we have to be aligned, and it's God, family, and then everything else.
Right.
And a lot of times I get it twisted. I would get it. I would get the alignment a little bit not how it's supposed to be. But then God is so graceful, and He's so merciful that he'll, he'll reroute us, right? Like the GPS. And
Right.
so I, that's how I'm very, very grateful
Yes.
for every day when I wake up, and just being awake, just waking up every day is just a blessing. So I stay motivated with
Yeah.
thanking him, and then I look at my kids. They're all adults now,
Okay.
but as parents, they never stop being
Never
our
stop. Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a grandma now.
Oh, you are. I'm a grandpa now.
Nice, nice. So you know the
I
feeling.
know
You
the
can't
feeling.
really know the feeling until you know the feeling,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm a grandma now, and I feel like because it's like I was telling you, we always go through different challenges, right?
Right.
So I feel like this is another huge challenge that's happening in my life. I have a brother that's homeless
Right now you do.
right
Yeah.
now. He just got into rehab, but decided to check out, and I'm trying to get him
Yeah.
back in. So it's like another challenge, but the devil is a liar. So he's always trying to, whenever you're trying, you're doing good, you're trying, and he's always, so I thank God, and I look at my kids, and I look at my grandkids, and it's like, my mentor told me this, and it stuck with me, and I have it tatted in my heart. He said, you look at your kids, and now I look at my grandkids too, and he said, whenever you want to eat something unhealthy, or whenever like you don't want to get up and go and do what you're supposed to do like on a daily, like you're literally looking at them in the face and telling them, you know what, like you're not worth me taking care of myself. So I'm gonna eat this unhealthy food
Right. Right.
because you're not worth it. And same thing for getting up and going to work every day. Like I cannot look at them in the face,
Right.
even though they're adults or my grandkids, and say, because they are worth it. So I like they're grown, but I see their
Yeah.
little faces,
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what gets me going. My kids, my grandkids, and I take care of my mom. So
Okay.
she's 82.
Was
So that's
82?
another, yeah. So
Wow. Okay.
that's another motivation.
Okay.
And I just want to help
Yeah.
my family. I want to help the world. I
I think you are helping. Yeah. 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 You're definitely helping. Yeah. Yeah. I love what you're doing. It's just it's so when we first met, every day you would DM me a encouraging message. I
mhm
mean, I'm sure it's me and plus other people as well. But it's like every day you had the discipline um, to do that, right? And I'm like, wow, every day it popped up same time. And then when we would chat, you would always refer to me as a king, right?
mhm
And that felt good just to get that energy because that helped like encourage my day, right? And then you would talk to different people like at our events, hi king, hi queen, because and I forgot who it was that asked you why you say that, and you're like, well, because I'm a queen, and I want to give that energy to other people. So you're a big encouragement, to people, to me, just in those messages. And I know we've had a few events, uh, um, but what you're doing, who you are, is very very special. It's very very special, and it's something that you're definitely changing lives. You're definitely making people smile and making people see that there is something greater on the other side. If I take the time and see it myself first, and then go after it. You chose to go after what you want. And what's your vision for the future?
well, um like when you go to the university and try to get your degree as a doctor, I want to be able to get that um, degree in life. I say, like, once I can, if I can help, you know, one person, that's already huge for me, right?
Yeah.
But I want to be able to help so much more. One of my biggest dreams too is, like, my mom always helped the homeless when we were small, and she would always cook for them during all the holidays and clothe them and stuff. She has a thrift store for over 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so my mom's a hustler. She's such a great little firecracker, right? And so one of my biggest visions too is like to have one of the mobile homes to be able to go around and have the homeless shower, and I can give them a care
Okay.
package,
Nice.
and so they can, at least for the day,
Yeah.
they can feel like they matter, because they do, you know. And I want to own like a big old mansion where they can just come, and like children that are abused, women. So it's like so much, and so much help needed out there, and you don't really feel it as much, or maybe you do, but until you have one of your own, like my
Yeah.
brother, it it hits different. It hits different, and so my vision is to have a like over 100 healthy starts around the world.
Okay.
This is my first one.
Yeah.
But
It starts with one.
but I have faith. I have faith. Like I said, I am a child of God, and we are royalty, and
Yeah.
that's why I always tell everyone,
Yeah.
you're a king. You're a king. I'm a queen.
Right. I think you wrote King on my
I did. I
my
did. I always
smoothie.
do. I always do. Some people are like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
but it's just it feels good. It
Yeah.
feels great, because sometimes there's people that had never even had a hug in their life.
Right.
No one even like just called them by their legal name.
Right.
But yet, king or queen. So
Right.
they're just, it makes them feel special. And I love Mother Teresa, because she did a lot of great for the humanity too. And she always, talked about how you leave, how you make people feel, right?
Yes.
So it's like, and I'm really grateful that you're telling me this right now,
Yeah.
when you went that day, because it really makes a difference.
It
Like,
does.
for making, when I see people smile, when I
Yeah.
see people that, hey, like, you just made my day, or like that hug, like I really needed that hug. And sometimes that's all we just need. We need someone to just say, hey, you matter.
Yeah.
Like,
It,
you're important.
yeah. It definitely works. I mean, it definitely makes someone's day. Just those little 3 or 4 words. I mean, the letters, like, they make someone's day. And honestly, at this point, I believe that your love for people and how you give hugs and how you call them kings and queens, that can probably, you've probably saved someone's life that day that you did it, and they even know it. Someone's thinking about whatever, so suicide or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
and then that hug you gave them, that quote you put on their cup, you probably saved someone's life. And so my thing too is like, just keep it up. Keep it up, because it means so much. And your love for people is genuine. It's needed, because most people don't love people. It's like, you do your thing, I do my thing, and whatever, right? But I can feel your genuine love for people, and I want to applaud you and congratulate you. And
Thank you.
And for me, it's an honor to meet you and like be your friend. It is.
Thank you.
Anything for us in closing?
No, just I'm just extremely grateful that you Google
Yes.
and
Yes.
and you find a healthy shake.
Right.
And I'm just very, very grateful to have you in my life, because you're doing amazing things too. I'm always following you. I'm
Appreciate it.
always liking. I'm always
Yes, you are.
listening, and because you pour in a lot of wisdom. You're a very wise man, and I appreciate what you're doing. And like I said, I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
That I just feel honored that when you called me, and I was like, what? But it's amazing. It's amazing, and continue to do what you're doing, because it definitely gave me like a whole breather too, because in this, a storm of my life, it just like gave me a fresh new breathing out there, like, hey, just keep going. Like, someone is being grateful for what you're doing, even if nobody says it, like, there's always someone that's being grateful out there. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me here.
And that's the big thing. Sometimes we question, what we're doing. Is it what we're doing is, does it matter to people? I've had that question a lot, but then I get people like and share, who say, yes, it's great, keep it up. That's what keeps me going. That's my motivation. So thank you for that. So how do we find you? How do we find Healthy Start? How does someone get on this journey of getting good nutrition?
So I'm in Riverside. It's Healthy Start Riverside, 9446 Magnolia Avenue, in Riverside, 90221. And Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Healthy Start Riverside.
Okay. And if someone wants to get on a health journey, I mean, you can help them, like, no matter where they are, right? No matter what state they're in, no matter where they are, you can help them anywhere. Okay.
We're so our nutrition is in over 90 countries around the world.
Nice.
We've been in the market over 40 years.
Nice.
And I've only had a Healthy Start for 11 years. So, well, not only, it's been 11 years. 11 years of pure blessings, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can help them anywhere.
All right. Well, thank you for blessing us. I appreciate your time, and we'll get you back on soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Remember to have a happy, blessed, and highly favored day. This is Baya's Food for the Soul.
I love it.